What's up, party people? It's Keys Dan, RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live and in living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Smarter. It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do you go? DJLittleRock.com. Check availability, get a free price quote, and you can have me, possibly, at your next event. Entertaining you, entertaining the people. The people need to be entertained. If you'd like to tell your story, I encourage you to check out my other podcast, What Makes You Famous. Find it everywhere using the hashtag, What Makes You Famous. Let's learn some stuff right here on the What Makes You Smarter program.
Now, on with the show. Today on the program, 10 things you need to know today for Friday, May 1st, 2020. It's gonna be May. Number 1, Michigan protesters call for governor to let businesses reopen. Hundreds of protesters, some legally carrying guns, crowded into Michigan's Capitol building on Thursday to demonstrate against Governor Gretchen Whitmer's, Democrat, stay-at-home order designed to curb the spread of the COVID-19 coronavirus. The group, Michigan United for Liberty, which organized the protest, said it wanted the state to allow businesses to reopen. Whitmer on Thursday extended her state of emergency order, which was set to expire Friday, until May 28th, although the Republican-controlled legislature declined to endorse the move and threatened to take her to court. Whitmer, who has faced a rising backlash, eased some restrictions on public gatherings as coronavirus cases showed signs of stabilizing. Although with 40,000 infections, Michigan is among the hardest hit states. This is according to NBC News and Detroit Free Press. Number 2, jobless claims rise above 30 million over 6 weeks. Another 3.8 million U.S. workers filed new claims for unemployment benefits last week. The new figures bring the total job losses over 6 weeks to more than 30 million as the coronavirus crisis continues to shut down businesses. The once unthinkable total could even be an undercount, economists say, as many states have been overwhelmed by the rush of applications for unemployment benefits, which Congress has extended to include self-employed taxpayers. A study by the Economic Policy Institute found that about 50% more people than were counted might have been eligible, but found the process too daunting. Quote, the problem is even bigger than the data suggests, end quote, said Elise Gould, a senior economist with the Left-Leaning Research Institute. This is according to the New York Times. Number 3, Trump says FBI documents essentially exonerated Flynn. President Trump said Thursday that newly released FBI documents had, quote, essentially exonerated, end quote, former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, who pleaded guilty to lying to agents investigating Russia's election meddling. Flynn's lawyers on Wednesday released Justice Department documents in Flynn's case, including a handwritten note from former FBI counterintelligence director Bill Priestap saying, quote, what's our goal? Truth, admission, or to get him to lie so we can prosecute him or get him fired, end quote, Trump said. Quote, these were dirty, filthy cops at the top of the FBI, and you know the names better than I do, and they were dishonest people, end quote. In December 2017, Trump tweeted that he, quote, had to fire General Flynn because he lied to the vice president and the FBI, end quote, about his contacts with Russia's ambassador before Trump's inauguration. This is according to the New York Post and Politico. Number 4, Biden forms committee to vet possible running mates. Former Vice President Joe Biden's presidential campaign on Thursday unveiled plans for his vice presidential vetting committee. The group will be led by former Senator Chris Dodd, Democrat, Connecticut, Representative Lisa Blunt, Rochester, Democrat, Delaware, Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti, and Biden's former White House and Senate counsel, Cynthia Hogan. Biden, the presumptive Democratic nominee, already has said he would choose a woman as his running mate. Biden said Wednesday he expected his potential VP candidates to be vetted by July, and he will narrow down the list then. Biden said he would follow the advice of former President Barack Obama, who picked him, and find someone who's, quote, simpatico with me. who is a real partner in progress and is ready to be president on a moment's notice, end quote. This is according to CBS News. Number 5, Trump administration explores retaliation against China for pandemic. Senior U.S. officials are considering demanding financial compensation from China for letting the COVID-19 coronavirus spread outside China and around the world, the Washington Post reported Thursday, citing 4 senior administration officials. The administration also is exploring ways to punish China, such as stripping its sovereign immunity so the U.S. or victims could file lawsuits against it. President Trump threatened to use tariffs. U.S. intelligence agencies have debunked a conspiracy theory that the novel coronavirus was, quote, man-made or genetically modified, end quote, but they were still looking into whether it could have escaped from a lab. Trump contradicted intelligence officials, saying he had seen evidence supporting the theory that the novel coronavirus originated in a laboratory in Wuhan, China, rather than from infected animals in a market. This is according to the Washington Post and CNN. Number 6, Biden to address assault allegation. Former Vice President Joe Biden, the presumptive Democratic presidential nominee, is scheduled to personally address for the first time a former Senate aide's allegation that he sexually assaulted her on Capitol Hill in 1993. MSNBC tweeted Thursday that Biden would be interviewed about the matter on Morning Joe early Friday. Biden's campaign has denied the allegation. Shortly before the interview announcement, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Democrat California, defended Biden, saying she was, quote, satisfied, end quote, with his response to Reid's allegation that he assaulted her. Pelosi noted Biden's long history of advocating for women's rights and said she was, quote, impressed with the people who worked for him at the time, saying they absolutely never heard one iota of information about this, end quote. This is according to Reuters and CNN. Number 7, Amazon to spend quarterly profit on virus response. Amazon on Thursday announced that it would spend its second quarter profits, estimated around $4 billion, on responding to the coronavirus crisis. The online retail giant said it would spend hundreds of millions of dollars on COVID-19 tests for workers and improving its delivery network to handle a surge in online shopping under stay-at-home orders. Some of the money will go toward higher wages and personal protection equipment for workers. The company reported first quarter earnings of $5.01 per share, falling below expectations of $6.25 per share. Its revenue came in at $75.45 billion, beating forecast of $73.61 billion. The company also said its employees who can work from home may do so until at least October 2. This is according to CNBC and Reuters. Number 8, FEMA will send PPE to nursing homes. The Federal Emergency Management Agency is preparing to send a week's worth of personal protective equipment to 154,000 nursing homes around the country, the Trump administration announced Thursday. The shipments of surgical masks, gloves, eye protection, and gowns, supplies nursing homes have struggled to obtain amid the COVID-19 pandemic, will begin the first week of May. But some advocates are calling the shipments, quote, too little, too late, end quote, with Mark Parkinson, the head of a major nursing home lobby, saying, quote, the inability of long-term care facilities to obtain equipment has proven to have tragic results, end quote. Nursing homes have seen major outbreaks of COVID-19, though it's been hard to put an exact number on those who died of the virus in those facilities. This is according to CNN and Politico. Number 9, court rules against Trump attempt to withhold sanctuary city funds. The 7th U.S. District Court of Appeals in Chicago on Thursday upheld 2 lower court rulings blocking the Trump administration's effort to withhold millions of dollars from so-called sanctuary cities and counties that limit cooperation on immigration enforcement. The 3-judge panel said the decision applied nationwide, although one of the judges said he would have narrowed the ruling to cover only Chicago, which filed the lawsuit. The decision came after President Trump, who has made curbing illegal immigration a focus of his presidency, said Wednesday that he was considering restricting coronavirus aid to sanctuary jurisdictions. The matter could be headed to the Supreme Court, as federal appeals courts have issued contradictory rulings on Trump's policies toward sanctuary cities. This is according to Reuters. Number 10, Fauci administration aims to roll out vaccine by January. Anthony Fauci, the top U.S. infectious disease specialist, said Thursday that the Trump administration is rushing to develop a coronavirus vaccine that could be used nationwide by January. The goal is to produce hundreds of millions of doses. Quote, "We want to go quickly, but we want to make sure it's safe and it's effective," end quote, Fauci said on NBC's Today Show as the national stay-at-home guidance expired. Quote, "I think that is doable if things fall in the right place," end quote. Fauci, the director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, said that manufacturers of the best potential vaccine candidates would start production even before the vaccines are proven to work. That could make vaccine available months faster than the normal process. This is according to the Washington Post. That's 10 things you need to know today for Friday, May 1st. It's gonna be May. Thank you for listening. This has been What Makes You Smarter. If you'd like to tell your story or hear the stories of others, I encourage you to check out my other podcast, What Makes You Famous. Find it everywhere using the hashtag What Makes You Famous. I hope everyone's doing reasonably well. Drop me some comments. Let me know what's going on in your neck of the woods. This has been Keys Dan with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.
If you like what you hear, I encourage you to follow What Makes You Smarter on social media. Find it on Facebook at What Makes You Smarter, Instagram at What Makes You Smarter, Twitter at SmarterWhat, and YouTube. Username Keys Dan. Leave What Makes You Smarter podcast a review and subscribe. Listen to What Makes You Smarter podcast on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and Podcast Addict. My personal favorite, learn with me on my podcast, What Makes You Smarter. And if you'd like to tell your story, I encourage you to check out my other podcast, What Makes You Famous. Find it everywhere using the hashtag What Makes You Famous. Call 501-470-6386 and leave a message to set up a time for What Makes You Famous. Support What Makes You Smarter podcast using the PayPal, paypal.me/Keys Dan. Email info@radiowhat.com. What Makes You Smarter is a production of Keys Dan Enterprises Incorporated at keysdan.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening. Thank you for